Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Scott Golden. Um, gosh, where do I start? There is so much information out there right now. There's so much going on in the world of pickleball, especially right now at the pro level. Um, just to catch everybody up to speed, if you haven't been paying attention to social media lately, or if you're just not in the loop about pickleball, we have some big unfolding developments that have recently come into play. And I don't have very long. Usually I come on here and I just kind of, talk until I'm feeling like I'm finished talking. But I only have a few minutes. I don't want to take too long. I just want to make this kind of short and sweet. But, um, you know, there's some exciting stuff going on right now. And to be honest, what's up, everybody? I just, like I said, I just got a few minutes. I just wanted to come on here and just kind of chat with you guys for a few minutes. But a lot of stuff unfolding, a lot of good information out there, but there's also some misinformation out there as well. And I just want to like clear up a couple things. And I don't know everything. I don't know all the details, all the behind the scenes. I do have a little bit of good information. Hopefully that you guys can, get a little bit of insight to what's going on. But like I said, I don't claim to be a full-blown expert in everything that's going on right now, or to know all of this stuff that's happening. But I do want to say this as well. I don't even really know where to start because there's so much going on. It's just like, it's crazy. But PPA and APP, the Professional Pickleball Association, and then the Association of Professional Pickleball, are the two competing professional tours right now in our sport. Okay. And, um, since January of 2020, when they kind of came out publicly and said that they were going to start professional tours, it's been kind of this back and forth power struggle, if you will, like from a visual standpoint. Picture the PPA and the APP with a rope, and they're tugging back and forth with each other, trying to grapple for dominance in the pickleball space professionally, and they've both been trying to make moves, to put themselves in the best position to be successful. And it feels like every time one of the tours does something, the other one tries to counter with something else. And it's kind of been this back and forth for a couple of years now. And so recent developments have been absolutely insane, where the PPA behind the scenes, after the 2021 season ended, the PPA basically has been negotiating behind the scenes with a big player in the sports world, a big financial, guru, if you will, somebody who understands business, who also loves sports, and obviously has seen the growth of pickleball. So the PPA is been negotiating with Tom Dundon and the Dundon Enterprises, whatever. They recently, sounds like, it's still maybe not official just yet, but it sounds like it's going to be official soon. The PPA has been bought by Dundon Enterprise. The Pickleball Central, who recently bought out, in the last few years, has bought out pickleballtournaments.com, which is Melissa McCurley. So Melissa McCurley got bought out by Pickleball Central. Pickleball Central has been around for, quite a long time, has become a predominant player in the sport, has put themselves in a really good position to be successful, and has been successful for quite some time. And then Tom Dundon bought out, like I said, PPA, Pickleball Central, who also owned pickleballtournaments.com. So there's this big, undertaking. And then APP, at the same time that PPA came out and made this announcement, APP comes out and says, hey, we've merged forces with Major League Pickleball, who's owned by Dreamland in Texas, Dripping Springs, Texas. The guy Steve Kuhn, who is a major player as well, deep pockets, loves the sport of pickleball. They've now teamed up. And then I'm hearing rumor that there might be another investor, a big time investor with the APP coming on board. So none of that's official. It's all kind of alleged information at this point. But, we've got some big stuff happening right now. But here's what I want to say. I keep up with all the social media, or at least I try to. I've got a job working at a country club in Boca Raton now, so I'm not as accessible at the moment. I've been working a lot more hours, but I still try to stay up to date on all this stuff. But I want to say this to the average player, the average pickleball player who loves pickleball, who's out there, making things happen in their local communities, helping do their part to grow the sport. I would like to say this. What's happening at the pro level will not truly affect the average player out there. Okay. So all the stuff I see, like with all these people posting like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling because the two tours are clashing and blah, blah, blah. It really isn't going to affect you guys. You guys are still going to get up every day. You're still going to go to work, or if you're retired, you're still going to get up and go play pickleball every day. It won't affect your day-to-day stuff. Okay. Now I've been seeing some stuff about, like, oh, we signed up for the APP Masters this month and we made all these plans and we spent all this money to come to this tournament, and now all the big names aren't going to be there, and et cetera, et cetera. All right, to that, I want to say this. Business is business, okay? So as much as you guys want to get mad at the Professional Pickleball Association for signing these big 3-year contract deals, if you're going to get mad at the Professional Pickleball Association, you need to be equally upset with the professional players who are signing these 3-year contracts. Because guess what? They are just as much responsible for these changes as the PPA. And so as much as you guys want to get upset about the tour signing these deals with the players, what about, have you ever thought and switched the role and said, well, what about the players? Okay, the players, you need to be upset with them, if anything, because they're the ones that are actually signing the deals, and these contracts are being negotiated and signed behind the scenes. And let me tell you something. The players don't have to sign these contracts, guys. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? They don't have to sign with the PPA. But guess what? Money talks. And the PPA's now got enough financial backing to offer extensive contracts. Enough money is being exchanged between hands behind the scenes that these players are willing to lock down with the PPA and say, we'll play exclusively at the PPA tournaments, and so, you have your price. I like it, Ken. Good stuff. So like, when you guys really stop and think about what's going on right now, this is normal business protocol. This is normal business procedure. When tennis was ramping up in the 60s and 70s and was really booming and taking off, you don't think this stuff was going on behind the scenes? You don't think that there was these power struggles and the negotiations, and at one time the pro players weren't getting paid as much, and then when the excitement of the tours, the tours started getting more and more exposure and eyeballs, and national television started taking on tennis, then the deals start getting bigger and negotiated. It's all part of the deal. John Rashilla said, I'm actually happy for them. Absolutely. We should be happy for them, guys. We should be happy for these pros. These pros have been busting their butt for years now to try to get some type of significant income coming in so they can support their families as a professional player. So it really just irritates me when I see some of this stuff, because people just don't understand what's going on, truly. Tracy, you know what? I don't know yet. I don't know what's going to end up happening. I do know that they're looking at making these players sign 3-year contracts, and it's going to absolutely probably include not being a part of anything that APP is doing, because they are in direct conflict with the PPA. So that will most likely, I'm speculating a little bit. I've not seen any of the actual contracts. but to be completely honest, I would imagine that the PPA and the APP do not see eye to eye. And one of the things that's probably going to be put into the contract is that these pro players, if they sign these big money contracts, that they will basically say, hey, no playing in APP tournaments at all. Understand that there are some of the players that are not going to sign with the PPA. They're not going to sign with the Professional Pickleball Association, which opens them up and allows them to play in PPA, APP, US Open, Nationals, TOC, any tournament that they want. Okay, and good for them. More power to those guys for doing that. If they want to withhold signing a contract that's going to pay them big bucks and getting in alignment with where the money's headed, then that's perfectly fine. And guess what? APP is aligning themselves with some big investors now, and the prize money is starting to go up. The stipends and the incentives are getting better for the APP tour as well. And so, they're going to start offering as much as they can, absolutely, to try to match what the PPA is doing. But don't get mad at just one tour or the other, and don't just say like, oh, this isn't fair for the spectators. Let me tell you something. There's still going to be plenty of phenomenal pickleball that's going to be happening at the APP tour stops. So, these guys like J.W. Johnson and the senior tour like Mircea Marayu and Julie Johnson and all these senior pros, they're going to be aligning themselves. John Sperling. I can go on and on. I shouldn't even be naming names. But all these people are going to start competing at the APP or continue to compete at the APP tour. And it's going to be phenomenal pickleball. No, it's not going to be Simone Jardim and Ben Johns and Tyson McGuffin and the Waters and all these other ones. But it is going to be phenomenal pickleball. So you're not going to be losing out on anything. All right, let me see. It says, comment says, the biggest concern of the average player is the rise of costs for tournaments. Most care less about the pro contracts. All right, well, understand also that the tours have to bring in revenue. Okay, they've got to bring in revenue. And one of the ways they do that is they offer amateur divisions. Okay, let me also say that you do not have to compete in the PPA and APP tours. As an amateur player, you can choose to do other things. You can play in local tournaments. You can play in US Open, TOC, Nationals, regional stuff. You do not have to be part of the PPA or APP. So if the prices get too high and you're like, hey, I can't afford this, I'm out, that's fine. Like, there's going to be plenty of people that will pay that cost. Okay. Just like anything else, guys, as things become more popular, supply and demand, things are going to go up. Look at when I got into the sport 5 years ago, paddles cost around 75 to 85 bucks. That was kind of the average paddle. 100 was like the top end. And now we've got paddles that are $200, and trust me, they're going to probably go up from there. I mean, I don't see them getting to 350, 400, not anytime soon, or maybe even ever. But inflation, things go up as things get more popular. That happens. That's natural consequences. All right, Scott Cup says 95% of all participants are amateurs anyway. They pay the fees anyway. Yeah, I mean, right now, because the sponsorship from outside companies is not large enough just yet to support the pro tour in and of itself. The amateurs are still part of bringing in revenue for the overall tour. But hopefully in the next couple of years, the pro tour is going to detach and separate itself and become its own entity at tournaments. So you will be able to play an amateur tournament on 1 week, and then the next week will be maybe the pro tour, or you won't even be able to play the amateur stuff at the same time as the pros. So it's all up in the air right now. It's very interesting to see what's happening. I don't even know and won't claim to know what the developments are and what's going to unfold over the next couple of years. But I can tell you this much: buckle up, because it's coming. there's some big changes, good or bad. It's happening right in front of us. And I'll say this: you can do one of two things. You can choose to be negative and complain and bitch about it, or you can get on board and you can just accept what it is and understand that we're a part of something very, very special right now. We're a part of like something like the growth of pickleball from the 50s, 60s, and 70s when tennis really started to boom and take off. That time frame, it was very special. And I'm also going to say this: everybody's worried about the APP not bringing good quality play and all this because the PPA is taking away the biggest names. I'm going to tell you something right now, and I'm seeing this firsthand. And if you're part of pickleball right now and coming to tournaments, you're also seeing this. And me being a commentator and knowing all the names and stuff, over the last year, we're starting to see names come on the scene from big high-level tennis backgrounds that have only been competing for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, maybe 6 months, and are starting to make waves in the professional scene. And 3 years from now, the people that you think are big names right now are going to be talked about as legends and Hall of Famers. They're going to be phased out little by little. No disrespect to any of the pros right now, but some of the ones that are on the tour that are at the top right now in 3 years won't be at the top anymore. And it's not a disrespect to them at all. It's just there's going to be so many of these pros that are, 150 to 500 in the world in tennis that are like grinding and training and just working their butts off every single day for maybe a couple 100,000 a year or whatever. I don't even know. And as the money continues to grow in pickleball and the excitement and the exposure, the national television exposure and these big commercial contracts, and as this money starts to pour into the sport, we're going to see those tennis players come over and they're going to make the current top pros obsolete. And I'm not saying that disrespectfully. I'm not saying that Ben Johns won't still be at the top for a long time. He will, and he will still compete for a long time. But just understand that this is part of that process. And so APP is going to start bringing in some names of people that want opportunity, and they're going to get that opportunity. All right. So somebody said, does the APP and PPA handle rain delays and cancellations in the same way? I attended the APP in Atlanta. They made sure every participant played. However, they were moved inside. I attended the PPA Orlando following rain delays. Players were sent home empty-handed. Okay, I'll address that right now. I'll address that real quick. The APP, I will say, like from a customer service standpoint, like from an amateur standpoint, I think the APP does a really good job of being accountable to the amateur division. I think they do a good job of being personable with the amateurs and really going above and beyond. I will say that specifically the APP Atlanta one was at the Lifetime Fitness there in Peachtree Corners, and they had the ability to move games inside with the indoor courts. That was a backup plan right on site. So that particular site was fantastic. But if you were to go to the, the one in Griffin, Georgia, it got rain almost every day or whatever. And they the first day they had that tournament, they had to drive 20 or 30 so miles or minutes, maybe 20 or 30 minutes away and play indoor to finish. Now, is that great? Yeah, they got to finish. That was great. But it's not really ideal to go from outdoor with the outdoor ball to indoor with the indoor ball. So it's not an ideal situation, even though they did figure out a backup plan. But there are also oftentimes where APP has not had the ability to move indoor, and they've had to cancel stuff, because of no other option. But I do think the APP does a really good job with handling that. The PPA Orlando, there was no, as far as I know, there was no backup ability. There was no ability to move that indoor, and they had to make some tough decisions. I feel like they could have handled that better. I feel like they could have absolutely handled that situation better. But guess what they did? I'm not sure even if a lot of people know this. After the PPA Orlando debacle with the amateurs, they went and hired, or not hired, but assembled a body of people in the sport that would help identify issues and solve issues moving forward. So it was like a committee of people that they assembled. So, that's great that they actually learned from that and were able to make hopefully some good adjustments moving forward. All right, great perspective as always from the Golden Boy. Thanks, guys. Ride the wave, absolutely, John. Got to ride the wave. Gigi Fernandez is one. Yeah, Gigi Fernandez is great. She was a high-level tennis player, comes over to pickleball, having some success at the senior pro level. I got to see her recently at a tournament. She's fantastic, great player. Somebody said, I hate to say this, but I agree. Yeah, definitely. Top 500, 300 in the world for tennis are barely breaking even. Yeah, exactly. Riley Burgess makes a great point. These players are grinding and grinding and grinding, and they're competing against thousands and thousands of tennis players trying to make a name, trying to make it for themselves, and they're barely breaking even. They by the time they pay coaches and travel expenses and all these things, they might make a little bit of money or break even, but they're not killing it. Okay, and now they'll have the opportunity to come over to pickleball and really start making an impact on the sport. All right, the question is, do you think we'll see any dual sport athletes that pursue tennis and pickleball at the same time? Absolutely. We already see that in somebody like Caitlin Christian, who's a women's pro doubles tennis player. She's on the tour right now and is still competing in tennis and pickleball. She's sponsored with Selkirk. Now she has a bigger role in tennis, obviously, because she's a pretty good player in the world of tennis. But who knows what might happen going forward. Yeah, Griffin, Georgia was a 10-minute drive inside. Okay, whoever that is saying that, you're splitting hairs. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it was, it was just down the road. Okay, that's minute details that are not even relevant. But the point was that they had a backup plan, but it was an indoor gym floor. And so they had to make do, and they did a great job finding a plan B, even though it wasn't ideal. That's what I said. All right, PPA Texas Open had to play with a backup plan and did a great job. Absolutely, 100%. Bob Barger, who's a good friend of mine, said, how does this work going forward with different rating systems that don't share data, amateurs especially? You know what, Bob? That's I don't have enough time to talk about that right now. The rating system right now is a total disaster. You've got WPR, you've got PPA, you've got APP, you've got World Pickleball, you've got the God, I can't. I mean, there's so many. You've got the who am I trying to say? You've got all these different rankings right now. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, but there's all these different rankings and ratings and all this stuff, and it's a little overwhelming, to be honest. Yeah, I know who that is saying, hey, Neckbeard, keep up the good work. He's talking about sometimes I grow a little facial hair down here on my neck, and I think he was talking about that. One time that was like something that happened. I was on a live stream. I think I had not shaved. So he calls me Neckbeard now. Kind of like when volleyball took off with AVP Jose Cuervo, catered to the amateurs. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, I just, I got to get going, but I just really, I wanted to just try and bring some different perspective for you guys, because I think there's so much information out there and there's so much misinformation. Also, I want to say this, and I'm not going to name any names. I'm not going to speak on anything specifically, but I do want to bring this up and I want to talk about this. I have made the mistake in the past of publicly thrashing, bashing, being negative about somebody or something in the past. I carry very small, a little bit of weight in the sport, nothing significant, but I feel like people do tune in. They do listen to what I have to say about stuff. And they do. Most people, I would say, majority that I talk to would say that they respect, my opinion on stuff within the sport. But I've made the mistake of jumping out there too quickly on social media, and I have burned a couple of bridges, ruined a couple of relationships by just speaking outwardly, publicly, and trying to be, an authoritative voice when I really shouldn't have been negative like that about something. I should have held my tongue. I should have, whatever. And so I've learned over the years, if you've been following me, um, I used to kind of be like quick trigger, hothead, would respond so quickly and get myself into some trouble. But I've learned to kind of take a step back. I'm still learning. I still have a long way to go. But you got to take a step back and realize what when you say something, when you speak on something, it has impact. It has meaning. And again, I am not perfect on this. I still have a long way to go. I'm still growing each and every day in this realm. But I've learned to just kind of throttle back and say, okay, if I say this, if I put this out there, how is it going to be perceived from people that are reading it? And so instead of just looking from my view only and my perspective, I try now to look at the 360 degrees of perspective. And I will say that I've been mentored by some really, really amazing people in my life. Megan Hall being one of them. She's just an amazing person. She's so wise and just has helped me, from behind the scenes, just learn from some of my mistakes and things that I do. Another one is I probably shouldn't name names, but anyway, there's another one that's been very influential in my life, and especially within pickleball, has really helped me look at the 360 degrees of perspective instead of just my perspective. Okay, and so why am I saying this? Well, I read some stuff recently, like in the last day or so, that there's things that are like being thrown out there and accusations and this and that. But understand, like when you let me back up. Let me give you an analogy. Okay, if you were to go into, I'm sponsored by Dick's Sporting Goods and Monarch. Let's use that as an example. If someone were to disagree with some of the policies and decisions that Dick's Sporting Goods has made, and they choose to go into their local Dick's Sporting Goods and outwardly, publicly, vocally goes into the store and just starts bashing and trashing Dick's Sporting Goods in front of a bunch of customers and people that are in the store. Do you think that they're just going to allow that person to continue doing that? If they're yelling and they're upset and they're just bashing Dick's Sporting Goods, do you think that the management is going to allow that to continue? No, it's not. They're not going to allow that. They're not going to allow you to go into their store and disrespect them publicly and maybe possibly ruin some potential prospects, customers, clients, what have you. The same thing applies on social media. Okay. If you go onto a social media platform and you start bashing the PPA, the APP, the MLP, Scott Golden, I'm just kidding, Scott Golden. You can bash me if you want. It's all good. But if you go on and bash them publicly, you have to understand something. They are not going to allow people to just come on there and trash them. If you want to state an opinion, if you want to be, if you have an opinion about something, I don't think that they're gonna just delete your comments or your post. Okay, but if you are in direct conflict with them and you make it known that you're taking a stance, you're drawing a line in the sand, I don't think you should expect them to just stand by and let you do that. That's not reasonable. It's not reasonable. Okay. Listen, I don't always agree with the things that the PPA does. I don't always agree with the things that the APP does. I don't always agree with the things that MLP does. I have had negative experiences with a lot of different things in pickleball, PPA, APP, pickleball tournaments. I could go on and on. Like I have had some negative experiences, but I try not to anymore. I have made mistakes in the past, so I want to be clear about that. But I try now to stop attacking people publicly and companies publicly, because you know what? At the end of the day, that burns bridges. and that's not a healthy way to go about that. Okay, it's not a good way to go about that. So when somebody is a business or an entity, an influence within the sport, do not expect that they're going to allow you to just go out there publicly on their platform and bash them, or if they're associated directly with somebody that you are bashing. You cannot literally, like, logically and just like reasonably expect that to happen. Okay, so just wanted to put that out there. Ed Bailey owes you and I Chinese lunch. Absolutely, Ed Bailey owes us Chinese lunch. I'm still going to hold him to that next time I come to Atlanta, Georgia. Hi, I met you at Palm Air. I teach tennis and pickleball from California. Let's talk soon. Yes, Marianne, I remember who you are. Good to see you. Glad you're following me on here and glad you joined in on the conversation. There's a good question. Why are there 2 pro tours? I don't exactly know the answer to that. I do know that it's an opportunity cost. Back in 2019, the sport really started. Really, 2018 was when it really started bubble up under the surface, and it started to gain some real momentum. And there's just some opportunity there. Ken Herman, the Pardos, and anybody associated with those tours saw an opportunity to capitalize on some financial gain by creating a pro tour. At the time, there really wasn't a pro tour, not an official one. There was an attempt in the Pacific Northwest, kind of out in Utah, where there was like this attempt to bring in like bigger money purses for the pros. They did it for about 9-10 months, and it didn't make it. They couldn't get enough financial backing at the time. I think the sport was just premature at that point, and they just didn't have enough money. And so anyway, that kind of flopped at that point. And then in the beginning of 2020, both Ken Herman and the Pardos saw that opportunity, put in a bunch of time and resources and money of their own to create a tour. I don't even know if they knew each other at that time. I don't know if they were going to start it regardless, and I really don't know if they knew the other one was starting one at the same time. I have a feeling they did have an idea, and so each one of them was trying to get a jump on the other one. But that's a great question. So from that point on, it's been kind of a back and forth struggle between the 2 tours trying to gain relevance. I believe this is taking the emotional subjective emotional side out of it and trying to be objective. I believe the PBA has gained a slight advantage from the standpoint of capturing actual contracts with the top pros in the sport. But the APP is not going anywhere from all accounts that I can see. And they do a great job with their stuff. So, Peter, you're going to get the poo-poo platter. Okay, he says, dude, that is very mature and dead on. You know what? Like I haven't always been mature. I haven't always been able to see 360 degrees, and sometimes I still don't. I'm a very emotional guy. I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and sometimes I have not handled myself the right way, but I have tried to grow and mature and kind of grow with the sport and learn, what my role is and what I should do and not do. And I also have companies that I represent, and so I'm held to a higher standard. I'm held accountable for my words, for my actions, for the things that I do publicly. And like I said, I'm no big deal, but I have grown my brand and my influence in the sport to, I believe, to a level where I'm having to be more aware and put myself in a position to be more of an influencer and honestly be positive. Somebody said, aren't there 2 leagues in baseball? There's the Major League Baseball, MLB, and then there's National League and American League. I'm sure there's some other leagues out there that aren't quite as significant, but Major League Baseball is the predominant governing body for professional baseball. Also, a good example is the UFC, Ultimate Fighting Championship. there's other tours, there's other fighting championships that you can go through, other avenues, but no one would dispute the fact that the UFC made the biggest impact on the sport. They invested the most amount of time, resources, and marketing to become the top of the food chain in professional mixed martial arts. And so if you want to be at the top of the sport, you want to align yourself and associate with the UFC. So I think I see pickleball being about the same way. You can be associated with the PPA, the APP, or both. But if you really want to separate yourselves and compete at the highest level, I believe it's going to be the PPA tour that's going to provide the ability to compete with the highest level of professional athletes. Also, I like I said, I have to go soon. I'm already 5 minutes over what I thought I was going to speak. I was trying to hold it to 30 minutes. But if you guys know me, you know that I love to talk. I love to discuss this stuff. And, I absolutely love your opinions too. Not everybody's going to see it the way I do. Not everybody's going to be of the same opinion. But I do think that me being around, 5 years, I've been immersed in the sport. I'm not only a 5.0 pro player. I do professional commentary. I teach professionally, and I've just been a part of the fabric of pickleball for the last 5 years. So I do feel like I know a little bit about what's going on and what I see. So somebody said, Tracy, a good question. Also, U.S. Open. Okay, so I touched on this. I don't know what the future holds. I'm guessing that the pro players are going to try and negotiate the ability to still play in what's called the big three: U.S. Open, Nationals, TOC, which is called Tournament of Champions. These are like three of the anchors in the sport that have been around for quite some time. U.S. Open is touted as the largest pickleball party in the world. If you've ever been to the U.S. Open, it's on the East Coast in Naples, Florida, home of the U.S. Open. They have over 60 dedicated courts now. It's an amazing tournament to be a part of. I recommend going to that, even if the pros don't. But that's on the East Coast. That pulls a lot of weight in the sport. USA Pickleball Nationals is in Palm Springs, California. It's at the Indian Wells Tennis Garden. Amazing venue, amazing tournament. That's known as one of the big three. And then Tournament of Champions is in, I think, Brigham City, Utah. I think that's right. Somewhere in Utah. Another just juggernaut tournament that all the pros go to. But I believe when all the dust settles, I think that the PPA is going to be reasonable, and I think they're going to allow some of these big pros to still compete in those. I just don't think they're going to allow them to compete in the other tour directly. I know when I first signed with the PPA, I was trying to do professional commentary with PPA and APP because I'm a lover of the sport, and I'm a big proponent of professional commentary in the sport. I think it adds a lot of value, and so I was trying to get contracts with both, and neither tour would allow me to work with the other one. So I had to make a decision, and back at that time, that was beginning of 2020. It was a lot of stuff up in the air still. It was all kind of new. So I believe it's going to be the same type of negotiations. I think they might allow these players to play outside of the PPA with these 3-year contracts, but they won't be able to play in any of the APP. I'm guessing that's a speculation. Do not take that to the bank. I don't know that for a fact. That's just kind of how I feel about it. Let's see. Scott Cuffis said, "Have a great evening, Scott. Keep it up." Thanks, Scott. I'll see you here soon at the APP Masters. What leagues play in the World Series of Baseball? I don't know. I used to play baseball growing up, but I would be lying if I said I kept up with all the ins and outs of baseball. All right. Gary said, Gary's the guy that jokes around the most on Facebook. This guy's never serious about anything. So I'm curious if this is a serious question. He said, the bottom line is that these changes are about growing professional pickleball. The changes that these tours have talked about so far don't even affect the amateurs, the people doing most if not all, of the public complaining are amateurs. Yeah, I mean, if you really look across the board, we have a lot of opinionated people. We have a lot of people who are up in arms about everything that's happening. But when have you ever seen one of the professional players stating anything negative, talking about anything to do with it? They don't. I take more of a stance of trying to be informative. When I go live now, I try to be neutral and informative. I don't want to form necessarily specific hardcore opinions either way. I just kind of want to bring information to the table for you guys and be a voice of reason and somebody that you guys can bring questions to and try to honestly help clear up some of these questions you have. They said National League and American League are different leagues under Major League Baseball. Yes, you are 100% correct, but they're still under the umbrella of professional baseball. And I would venture to say that most people, the average person that knows anything about baseball, would know Major League Baseball as the big governing body and the authoritative body of baseball professionally. And then National and American League get a little bit lower acknowledgement. But people that follow baseball absolutely would know that information. If somebody's asking me my opinion on can two professional tours be in the same space and be successful? Yes, absolutely. I think that it's free enterprise. These are companies who are out there to make a profit. So I think they absolutely can both succeed. Will there be some type of buying out down the road? Who knows? Maybe one of these big deep pockets type of investors ends up buying out both tours and ends up combining and making it one big tour. Who knows? We don't know yet what's going to happen. But I do think that APP is not going anywhere, and I don't think PPA is going anywhere, at least for the foreseeable future. All right, somebody said thoughts on having pickleball having a process to qualify for being a pro, like in tennis, ATP tour, you have to play challenges, satellites, etc., before able to play the Grand Slams. Yes, I do think there's going to end up being qualifiers. I don't know what that's going to end up looking like. I don't know how that's all going to shake out because ultimately, right now, the sport is still not big enough, and our professional brackets are still not large enough to dictate that. Let me give you a real example. In the women's division, at some of these PPA and APP tournaments, the women's division, like the women's doubles and women's singles, might have 8 teams, 7, 8 teams. Sometimes in singles that might have 5 to 8 teams, players playing in singles. So it's just the weight of the brackets is just not there yet. We haven't gotten to the point yet where the tours are turning away the professionals. They're going to still take your money. The pros, they're going to allow all the pros to still sign up. And so we're not there quite yet. So I think maybe at some point, but it won't be anytime real soon, I don't think. Mac Moody, one of the people I absolutely love in pickleball. She's an amazing human being. Mac, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of the comments tonight. Mac says, it's nice to see the shakeup, but I sure wish we could all get on the same page for the sport. Don't worry, Mac. It's coming. There's going to have to be, this power struggle for a little while, but eventually I think things will settle. I think things will get aligned. It's just going to take some time. And at some point, there's going to be some egos that have to be put aside, and they're going to have to look at the best situation for the sport as a whole. This is it's this Facebook user, so I don't know who it is at the moment. It'll show it later after I end the live stream. But it says, they said the history of football and basketball is both sports had 2 predominant leagues that ended up where one bought out the other. I do think that's going to happen at some point. I do think that's going to happen. But again, it needs to grow and grow and grow. That we need to get on national television, whether it be ESPN1, ESPN2, Fox Sports, CBS Sports. It needs to be on a regular basis being displayed on national television. I also think that's coming. Okay, so just buckle up. I think that's coming. I can't give you any time frames, but I do believe that things are being worked behind the scenes. All right, so let's see. They can compete against each other in a pickleball World Series. Yeah, maybe so. NFL bought the AFL and NBA bought the ABA. Exactly. It will happen at some point. Thanks, Scott. Tried Carpe yet? Yeah, I think Carpe is it's the stuff that it dries your hands out. It's like a deodorant. I think Carpe is a deodorant for your hands, for your armpits, for sweaty things on your body. I think that's a fantastic product. Absolutely. Okay, let's see. A lot of good comments coming in. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for being a part of this. Thank you for bringing some clarity to all the recent confusing changes. Yeah, I mean, if you guys have any other questions, I'm happy to try to answer them to the best of my knowledge. Somebody said tennis went through a lot of the same changes, a lot of similar history that pickleball is going through now. It's all growing pains. The main point is that pickleball just needs to continue to grow and bring in more players. Absolutely. It's got to bring in more players and it's got to bring in more viewership. Okay. So we need to be really doing our part from a grassroots movement to get this more mainstream, to get people out there to be a part of what this growth is. It's very special. It's a very special thing right now. Somebody said UB Albert was the one that asked about the ATP tours and asked if you tried Carpe. Yeah. So there you go. Somebody said, I would love to see Pickleball Channel be the exclusive home of all the tours and all the broadcasts of all the events. They have done so much for the support, especially in the infancy days of the US Open. Yeah, I agree. You know what? That there may come a time where that's the full platform. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, kind of like Tennis Channel. You know what? That might be the case. But like ESPN, I know is like just broadcasted the national championship between Alabama and Georgia, which by the way, I'm from Alabama. Alabama beat Georgia recently in the regular season earlier, and then Georgia came back and got that revenge. So congrats to Georgia. I'll always be an Alabama fan, but my goodness, Georgia showed out last night. But anyway, that's for another topic, another time. But if you guys don't have any more questions, I'm going to get ready. I'm going to take a shower and get ready. I'm going to go out and have some dinner and kind of relax after that. So I'm going to wait just a couple of minutes here and see if anybody's got any last questions. If not, I hope you guys are just having a fantastic evening. Just understand that the things that are happening right now may seem a little crazy at the moment. They may seem a little startling or a little overwhelming, but it's all good for the growth of pickleball, for the sport as a whole. I think it's good. So what's for dinner? I don't know yet. We'll see. I'm kind of a wing it type of guy, so we'll see. Normally it's Taco Bell, Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's, just to name a few. My diet is terrible. I have probably the worst diet you've ever seen. I eat like a 13-year-old kid, but I love it. My body runs well off of it. Chicken fingers. I love me some good chicken fingers with some honey mustard. Yeah, my diet's terrible anyway. So Rodney Langley said, when is your next announcing gig? That's a great question. I'm still working behind the scenes to work out what I'm going to be doing for 2022. Like I said, I took that job at Woodfield Country Club. I'm amazed at how well that's been going. I absolutely love teaching pickleball on a day-to-day basis. It's a real passion of mine. But up front, when I negotiated that job, I told my boss right up front that I still wanted to pursue professional commentary. And as long as one of the tours will sign me and have me do professional commentary, then I will be at the tournaments doing that. But if they go a different direction, they choose not to bring me on, I have to accept that for what it is. And as disappointed as I would be, I'm in a much better situation now than say like a year ago. So, I mean, I would be a little hurt. I'd be a little disappointed. But life goes on, and I would move forward. And I wish the best to whoever they get to sit in that seat and do the professional commentary for the tours. But yes, I would be lying if I said I wasn't excited about teaming up with some of the commentators for 2022 and being a part of the special growth that we've been seeing, and really bringing you guys the action on mainstream television. So it's going to be great. Need to get you a good restaurant. Yeah, I know. I love fast food, guys. Love fast food. Crunchwrap Supreme, baby. Let's go, Chris Paulson. That is literally, I literally either get the Crunchwrap Supreme, no lettuce, no tomato. I don't like the lettuce and tomato, so I just get like the Crunchwrap, and then I get a sweet tea or Baja Blast, or I go with the number 7, which is the I get a chicken quesadilla. So anyway, I love me some Taco Bell. Skip said, Skip's watching. When do you think that we will have uniform rules? Gosh, man, I hope we get that worked out soon. It's kind of been a crazy situation with all the rules. It has been crazy, but hopefully that'll be worked out soon. Somebody, I can't see who it is. It says Facebook user planning to set up a pickleball exhibition match in Ecuador, literally having the Ecuador line in the middle separating the court. Want to be our official voice, Scott. Need couple pros to join. You know what? I don't do anything for free these days. So if you guys can figure out how to get me there and compensate me a little bit, I would love to be a part of what you're doing there. I would love to be the voice of that. Maybe we can work on something where there's a little bit of sponsorship, that somebody maybe sponsors me going down there to Ecuador to do that. Would love to be a part of that. Absolutely. Yeah, Chris Paulson, it's the same page. Absolutely. Favorite fast food place? Oh, easy. I eat the most Taco Bell. So number 1, it's Taco Bell. Number 2, McDonald's. I don't know why, but I freaking love Taco Bell and McDonald's. That's my top 2. Third one would be Burger King. Fourth one would be probably Wendy's. And then if I had to round out my top 5, I would say probably, I don't know. A lot of people don't know about this place, but it's in Birmingham. It's based out of Birmingham, Alabama, and it's called Milo's. They have Milo sweet tea now. They distribute that across the country. But the original Milo's was from Birmingham, Alabama. That's where I spent the last 20 years before I moved down to Florida to teach pickleball and play pickleball down here. So probably top 5 would be Milo's. Yeah, Taco Bell definitely should sponsor me. I absolutely would love to talk to somebody from Taco Bell. If there's anybody watching or anybody that knows somebody that's upper management, upper echelon in Taco Bell, I would love to have a private conversation with them. Yeah, of course, nothing is for free. Yeah, you know what? I mean, let's talk. Definitely send me a private message, and when you do, I'll give you my phone number and we can talk on WhatsApp and figure it out. So who said fast food dinner next week? Let's do it. I can't see it, just as Facebook user. Culver's. I would say Culver's is up there in the top 5. They would be tied in my top 5. I do love the codfish fillet sandwich from Culver's, and anything to do with their sweet treats. Their ice cream is fantastic. Raising Cane's, definitely Zaxby's is good. Raising Cane's, I've eaten that, but I don't think we have a ton of them down here in Florida. I could be wrong, but yeah. There's also this other one that I saw recently. It's called Teriyaki Madness. I think it's a chain, or at least it's a regional chain. But Teriyaki Madness is really good. It's like an Asian place where they make like these teriyaki bowls and different things. It's very good. So if you're in Florida, South Florida, you should try that. So. Oh, goodness. I don't know how we ventured off into fast food stuff and food, but you know what? Everybody loves some good food. But yeah. So anyway, if no other questions are coming in about the professional pickleball world or anything to do with pickleball, then I'm going to probably get off here in a couple of minutes. I do want to say that I've been signing some contracts as of recently. You're going to see me start promoting some of these companies. I want you guys to show some love and support to these companies. I don't align myself or put myself in a situation where I have to promote something I don't like. So anybody that you see me promote, I absolutely love. I use their products firsthand. I use their stuff firsthand. And I'm absolutely proud to represent them. So show them some love, show them some support, and go buy some of their products and use them in your day-to-day pickleball life. You'll be seeing some new stuff pretty soon as I start kind of making this stuff public. Chris said, hope to see you soon commentating, man. Yeah, you know what? I hope so too. I hope I get signed for the 2022 season. I would love to be at all the tour stops, or if not all of them, a good majority of them. Okay, let's see. GI Lore said, which of the two professional pickleball is going international with the growing in Asia, in Europe, also America's someone it's going to take over? I think what they're saying is like which of the tours are going to go international. I do believe APP has got the jump on that for 2022. I believe PPA is focused more in the United States at the moment, but I would fully well expect the PPA to eventually go international with some stuff. But definitely APP right now has the upper hand in the European market and other places. Also, the World Pickleball Open or the World Pickleball Championship with Jan David or Jan Poppy. He's done a fantastic job growing pickleball over in Asia and different places. Got to give him a shout out. Him, Mac Moody, that whole crew of people doing a fantastic job growing the sport from an international level. So got to definitely give them a shout out. And they're doing something called the World Pickleball Championship Series. They're going to be blowing up the World Pickleball for sure. So any updates with PBA versus APP pro contracts? James, you must have tuned in late. That's what I spent the first 20 or 30 minutes talking about. Excuse me. Sorry, no, I don't have COVID just because I sneezed, so don't freak out. But no, I talked about that in the beginning. So if you didn't hear that first part, when I hit the end and finish button here in a few minutes, you can go back and rewatch the beginning and you'll get all that information. So if there's any specific questions that you have, then I'm more than happy to answer those real quick. But yeah, I spent like the first 20 or 30 minutes discussing that. So yeah, somebody said, dang, putting my mask on. Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. I'm vaccinated and don't have COVID right now. So it's all good. And last time I checked, you can't get COVID through the screen. So you playing both PPA and APP tournaments this year. So if you're just asking about my personal, goals for 2022 with pickleball, I'm teaching every day right now. I'm making a very good living teaching pickleball, so I'm very happy about that. I still want to do the pro commentary as well. My association and affiliation with pro commentary traditionally in the past has been with the Professional Pickleball Association, aka the PPA. So I will more than likely do pro commentary with that tour if I am doing any commentary at all for 2022. And so my goal would be I want to keep business and pleasure. So if I am called to do professional pickleball commentary for the PPA, I will be compensated for that time there. And I would love to just focus on that for the weekend and not play. And then I would love to just play in the APP tournaments and other tournaments as well. So I'm kind of planning to play APP, work in the PPA realm, and keep the two maybe separated. Not to say that you won't ever see me playing in the PPA events. If there's an opportunity, I'm sure I'll take that opportunity. I'm not phasing out of playing at all, but I've kind of toned down my 35 tournaments a year that I was doing for the first 3 or 4 years. I've kind of taken a different role and different kind of angle. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Daniel Gold, what's up, Daniel? Daniel follows me on social media. just did a fantastic lesson with his wife and his kids and him recently. And I love that family. Great family, by the way. Daniel says, on the APP calendar is a French Open and a British Open. Do you think these actually might happen? You know what? With COVID, nothing is safe. Nothing is set in stone. But I think they have absolutely, I think they have intentions of being at all those national and international tournaments that you have set up. So as of now, I would say like they're planning to do it, but who knows for sure. Wes Gabrielson said, stay out of trouble, Scott. Wes, what's up, buddy? My boy Wes Gabrielson is an OG in the sport of pickleball. This guy's been around a long, long time. He's a Hall of Fame player, just an outstanding guy, probably one of the nicest, most down-to-earth, sincere guys I've ever met on the tour. He's a professional player. He's also been a professional teacher, high school teacher for many, many years. But as of recent, I think he was going to take a year off from teaching school, and he was going to dive headfirst into professional pickleball and try to really ramp things up. So I'm really proud of Wes. Wes, just straight up, man, I just want to tell you, I'm proud of you. I think you're just an amazing, amazing guy. So absolutely love. And this dude kicked my butt in the APP Tour tournament in 2021 up in the Pacific Northwest. The guy absolutely can flat out play pickleball. He serves right-handed, hits left-handed, can switch hands back and forth. The dude's got a nasty pickleball game, so you do not want to be on the other side of the net from him. I absolutely can tell you that for a fact. So, yeah, Chris Paulson said, realize you couldn't beat Ben Johns. Ben Johns and a wealth of other professional players as well. Although at the same tournament that I lost to Wes Gabrielson, I was able to take one game off of, me and my partner took one game, the first game, off of J.W. Johnson and Jay DeVilliers in the pro level in the second round. So I'm very proud of that. We were able to win 12-10. And I actually poached and hit a winner down the middle to win the first game 12-10. So pumped about that. Have not beat those guys since. But I feel like I do have a game that is kind of hard to read, and I have a few shots under my belt, and a couple things that I feel like I can do out there still. So James said, do you think pickleball could have a Novak AO situation arise with COVID and all? Yeah, I mean, sure, of course, James. I think anything like that could happen. I don't know if it's of any significance right now. Currently, pickleball pros are not being tested that I know of. They're not being forced to test weekly or anything like that. So I don't foresee it being a huge thing right now. But anyway, yeah. So that eventually could. Sorry, I keep popping that up there. That eventually could get to where it is an issue. Also, I want to address one last thing, and then I'm going to go. I swear, I was only supposed to be on here 30 minutes. Now we're coming up on an hour and 3 minutes. So as you can tell, I love doing this. But right now, from a professional standpoint, there is no testing for performance-enhancing drugs. So I don't know. I think eventually that's going to change. I think as these pro players start to see the competition rise and the level of competition gets stiffer and more competitive, I think that we're going to see some people, like maybe take advantage of that thing, the opportunity to enhance their performance. So at some point, I would love to see maybe some guidelines and some standards in place. But we'll see. Who knows? The sport's not there quite yet. And also, I'm offended. Rich Lopez came on my live stream, said hello to Wes Gabrielson, but I did not get a hello. So, Rich, I made a highlight video of you diving at Nationals 2 years ago. That hurts, man. It hurts you didn't say hello to me, but all good. Life goes on. Gary said Taco Bell is still open. You're good. You know what? Taco Bell is open late, so that is my kind of place. So I will definitely probably make a visit to Taco Bell the next day or two. So what do you think they might take? You know what? Steroids, maybe even some I don't know. Sometimes people abuse Adderall to increase their performance. There's also just drugs, maybe cocaine or something like that. It might give somebody an edge. I don't know. Um, Also, there's a whole debate right now about CBD. So maybe some CBD products might give an edge. I don't know. I hope not. I love CBD products. I love what they do. Also, the Original Hemp is a company that I support, and I take their products, and it's been a game changer for me. So I hope that they don't, make those things about the CBD. I hope they don't change that. But thank you. Richard, thank you for the love, buddy. I hope to see you soon. Yeah, Rich Lopez is also another guy up there with Wes Gabrielson. Probably just one of those nice, sincere, down to earth guys that anytime you meet Rich, you're going to be, your life is going to be enriched and you're going to walk away feeling good about yourself. So, Rich is just one of those great guys and always smiling. And he's a hell of a pickleball player, too. Chris said, I was thinking like something to be hyper focused, like ADD or Adderall. Yeah, you know what? Maybe so. Maybe so. Riley Burgess said PGA endorses CBD, so I don't think that one is safe. So I think that one's safe. Yeah, you know what? I agree. I hope the CBD products stay available. Another thing we have to think about is everybody wants to get pickleball into the Olympics, and I feel like there's going to be some things if we do actually make pickleball a thing that is in the Olympics. There's going to be some changes and some guidelines and policies that may change there, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, Chris said you saw what I did there. Yeah, a little pun there. All right, guys, I am starving. I need to shower. I need to get cleaned up and take a break. So I will see you guys later. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that it was informative. I hope you learned a little something, and I hope that you guys have a blessed and happy rest of the week. And you'll be seeing more of me. I've been kind of bogged down with teaching and some different things, but you're going to start seeing me maybe go live a little bit more and try to keep everybody up to date on the much desired information that needs to be put out there as things unfold in the pickleball world. So, all right, guys, love you guys. Take care. See you soon.